morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592, the website at allamericangold.com. And welcome to Friday, man. We have made it. And what a rally we've witnessed in gold and silver this week. I've been saying it for a while. The bottoms are in. And listen, it's going to be a big run for the rest of the year in gold and silver. I think everybody agrees that the Fed's in trouble here. Inflation numbers came out again today. Jason, they were hot. Consumer confidence. They said inflation's getting worse, and then, of course, we had Jay Powell after the 0.75% rate hike by the Fed saying, hey, the economy's starting to slow. We got the Joe Biden administration, Janet Yellen, trying to convince everybody, oh, no, we're not in a recession, even though we've had 2 straight quarters of negative growth. And, Jason, I think next Thursday and Friday are going to be very big days. We could see, we could very easily see gold back in positive territory, well over $1,800. Silver over $20 and rising again this morning. We'll see next week's jobless claims, and then Friday's job numbers are going to be big. Jobless claims continue to rise. How close to that 270,000 number I've been telling you about are we going to get for first-time filers? And then Friday, really simply, anything under 200,000 jobs is going to be concerning. If it's 100,000 or less, Jason, it's going to be very concerning, and we're already seeing the dollar starting to weaken now because of the fact that the data isn't looking that good.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, Joe. Absolutely, and with the inflation and the rates going up, and the balance sheet is they're slowly but surely actually trying to sell some of that stuff and get that $9 trillion down, Joe. It's obviously going to be bad for the markets. But it's like you get that feeling. It's like it's supposed to go a certain way, right, Joe? But it's sometimes when somebody's rigging the system, you don't really know for sure what's going to happen. So everybody, I think, is waiting to see, right?
You know what's so funny too, and you bring up a couple of great points. You know, gold today here, 1765, up almost another. Well, depending on where you're, but I've got it up over $13. Kitco's gold was rallying again in the aftermarket yesterday, but 1765. I mean, think about it. We were 1710 to start the week. I think we're seeing a situation where once again the bond market. I mean, we're hanging out here below 265 on the 10-year note. We have this fully inverted yield curve. And like you said, Jason, it's hard because you want the data to say one thing. You know, the Biden administration trying to. So right now they're just talking jobs. Well, we're not in a recession because look at the job market. Well, if you look at it, listen, the job market's been weakening for the last 3 months, and it's been hanging in there. It's been a little better than expected, but that household survey has been painting a different picture. I got this feeling that the government's jobs number are going to start mirroring what the household number has. And in that case, listen, we're going to get a lot more dollar weakness, and we're going to get another big upside move to gold and silver.
That makes a lot of sense, Joe. If that's the path we go, it'll absolutely go that way. I mean, for me, gold and silver's always been that safe haven of you put those extra dollars that you save every week, every month, every year, and you got to put it in a safe place for savings. And here's this inflation we've had that's been roaring, right? But even in past years, Joe, before I joined up with Patriot Trading Group, that 2% so-called every year, which was never just 2%, but it was eating up your money every single year. And of course, gold has its downs and its ups, but if you look at it over a long enough timeline, that little line just goes up, 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 up. You know, one of the reasons that the stock market goes up kind of on an annual basis, that same upward line, is because, well, a lot of the markets, Joe, they're inflation sensitive too. Are these companies really worth the money that you're putting in there, or is it just, you know, it's inflation? I mean, Walmart's going to be around forever, right? So inflation is going to make the valuation of that company go up naturally. So gold and silver has always been my safe place to put it, because, you know what, I'd rather have it in gold than a stock.
Yeah, and again, though, I think we're going to see, this is what we've been anticipating. We had this, you know, let's call it a 90-day period where we had a lot of dollar strength because the Fed was talking all these big rate hikes. It looks like, not right, by the way, but it just appears like, hey, 75 basis points, we did that twice in a row, that's enough. Everything from here on out is going to be less than that. And a lot of people are saying, hey, somewhere between October and the end of the year, we're going to be in a full-blown recession, and that they're going to own up to. I'm telling you right now, this is depressionary stuff. Housing data yesterday. When you're talking about pending home sales, you're talking 1 million plus, almost like 1.2 million less homes are going to be sold. Levels going back to the 90s on homes. We heard from the new home builders saying, hey, we're getting ready to stop all this stuff. When Walmart tells you, hey, inflation is roaring and the consumer's starting to buckle, that's really all you need to know. And it's just a great opportunity. Get more gold, get more silver put away for a lot less. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. I don't know exactly what happened today, but crude oil's up almost 5.5%, up over $5.50 this morning. Unleaded gas. Get gas now. Get gas this weekend. Unleaded gas up 22 cents. Has to do with, Jason, the realities that Saudi Arabia has no more oil to pump. This is all there is. Even though the Biden administration, listen, we're going to keep drawing more oil out of the strategic oil reserve. We're now going to go through October. The problem is eventually that ends, and there's this fake shortage that they've created by simply saying, hey, we're no longer going to invest in oil projects. And the realities are, we had a little reprieve. We've seen this a couple of times this year. You get a pullback. It lasts, 2, 4, 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden prices are right back to where they were, Jason.
Yeah, and don't be too confused. Like in this local area right where we're at here in Colorado, I think we have the cheapest gas prices in the country right now. There's a little bit of a gas war going on with a new gas station moving in, Joe. But still, we're still looking at the high threes for gas, which is lower than a lot of people. But as soon as you get like a little further out from where this new gas station's moved in, it's deep into the fours and higher, and then it gets into the fives. So I think people on the Front Range, Joe, they're seeing these $3 and change gas per gallon of gas, just because that someone's trying to move in, and I think they're just cutting their margins down just to get customers. But it's not going to last long, Joe. It's not going to last long because there's nothing you can do when the gas you're getting to put into your pumps goes up. So I fully expect that to go up.
All right, now really quickly, I've got $20 gold on sale. I had it on sale yesterday. I've left it there because I want you to take advantage at $21.75. And while Jason, you were talking, we just got an email. Looks like old gold is getting extremely difficult to find. I will tell you this right now. we will be above $2,200 come Monday. And then we're going a lot higher than that as gold continues to rally here, now approaching $1,770. $20 gold, $21.75. And then I got a little bit of good news. 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagles. These are the golden dimes. They're at $250. We're the cheapest in the country by like $20, $25 there. Those are going to go up as well on Monday. So you got two gold options. The 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle, that's some barterable gold. And then obviously the 1 ounce $20 gold pieces, $2,175. And then Jason, right now, gold's now up over $15 here. Like I said, approaching $17.70. Silver up almost 40 cents now, $20.25. Silver is very, very, very limited. Dimes, quarters, halves, silver eagles. We have a little bit of everything. But you may call if we get busy here and it goes quickly. Be prepared to go back to those out of stock issues that we were having when COVID first started. Jason,
a lot of the gold products and the silver products, as far as some of the bigger dealers, Joe, that they've been out of silver for a long, long time anyway. So this isn't going to help that situation. So some of these big outfits, they won't even quote a price because they don't have any supply to sell you. So for anything we've got here for the Patriot Trading customers, jump on board quick, because if it looks like it's going in the direction it's going, it's going to get expensive, and it gets harder to get.
I said it before. I'm going to say it again. We are going to hit new all-time highs, period. Take advantage. We had this. And it's not I don't want to call it a fake pullback, because it was a pullback. It was a pullback based on this super huge dollar strength because of what's happening with Japan, what's happening obviously in Europe, and the big rate hikes that Jay Powell is now saying we're done with big rate hikes. I still think we're going to get one more, maybe two more before the jobs number catches up with everything else. But now the dollar is starting to come off, and really I'm looking at this bond market. Think about this. At the first three-quarter hike, so what was that, a little over 6 weeks ago, the 10-year note got to almost 3.6%. Now we've raised rates 0.75% then. We just did it again on Wednesday. And right now, Jason, the 10-year note is yielding 2.63. That's almost a full point less, which tells us, and I've been trying to tell you, this is the bond market's way of saying things have changed very, very, very quickly, and I really do. This is what I just think what's coming here. By October, I think we're going to have all stops. I think the Fed is already, this morning, there's worry that the Fed's quantitative tightening, that they can sell the treasuries right now as evidence with the 10-year note, because everyone's trying to get out of stocks and all that because they think a crash is coming. But the mortgage bonds, Jason, now there's worry that the Fed's actually not going to be able to sell them.
Yeah, I've been seeing a bunch of stuff about that. Who's going to buy them? Who's going to? Plus, a lot of those mortgages are lower interest rate, right? So you're not going to make a lot of money.
Well, they're low interest rate and they're recent, right? So they're low interest rate, and these are homes primarily all been bought in the last couple of years. And everybody's like, you know what? Hey, we think it's housing. There's gonna be some kind of correction. If all of a sudden that correction gets to be, 10, 20, heaven forbid, 30%, nobody wants those bonds.
Yeah, Joe, I really think they're concocting a situation where a lot of foreclosures are going to happen, so the banks can just scoop these properties back up and resell them. So we may have heightened interest rates for a long time. We may not see zero for a long time. I think wherever it ends up, Joe, it's not going back to zero very soon.
You know, we talked water. We've been talking water. We've been talking food, cattle, and how much prices are going to go up. We've been watching Bill Gates. And I said earlier this week, and it may have been on the half-empty cup, Jason, I said, notice where Bill Gates and these billionaires are buying up all this farmland. It's not where Colorado River water's involved. They ain't buying it there. This article broke. It's called the American Prairie Conservation Project. It's in Montana, where these group of billionaires has quietly been scooped up 450,000 acres of previous farmland. Like I said, this is all billionaire donors. The little-known project, which is aims to create what they call a fully functioning ecosystem in the continental United States. They're going to try to stitch together 3.2 million acres of land, according to the American Prairie Foundation. The group has recorded 34 transactions already. Roughly 453,188 acres of land throughout central Montana, much of which had been used for farming and grazing. Their mission is to assemble the largest complex of public and private lands devoted to wildlife. In other words, they're buying up all this farmland, all this grazing land, Jason, and they're saying we're not going to let you farm and graze on it any longer. And they're out there saying that they're looking at an area 25% larger than Yellowstone.
Yeah, between the globalists like Bill Gates buying up farmland and buying up land, and it's been going on for about 15, 20 years. The federal government buying up the land and making them national park areas. They're forcing people to have very few options when it comes to farmland or to live in rural areas, Joe. It sure seems like it's a lot of the Chinification of America, or push everybody into the cities so they can be more well-controlled under their system.
Yeah, they're talking about some guy like Hans-Jörg Weiss, a Swiss financier, a major donor to liberal causes, some German moguls, John Mars, the candy fortune heir, Susan Packard, or Hewlett Packard, right? These are some of the names that are involved in all of this.
Yeah, everything's going to be fine and dandy for them, Joe. I'm sure they're going to make a nice, tidy profit, but it's scary stuff, Joe. It's scary. It used to be small farms kind of just fed the country, and the victory gardens. We hear about all this stuff from even during the World War II times. Well, all that stuff's going away. Of course, how's that going to make food cheaper, Joe? When a small handful of guys are growing and producing the food, and then of course, what's the quality of the food going to end up being like?
Well, and you know what's so funny is Montana's trying to fight this.
Yep, they are.
The governor of Montana wrote a letter to the Bureau of Land Management late last year urging the agency to stop approving this group's request to buy more and more land in Montana, saying that the plan is going to remove large chunks of land from productive agriculture. And we're sitting here, listen, we're losing huge swaths of land. Wait till you see what happens come August 15th.
Yeah, Joe.
We're going to lose, probably close to 1 million more acres of farmland throughout what I'll call the Colorado River Basin. And on top of it now, we're losing hundreds of thousands of acres in Montana on top of it.
That's exactly right, Joe. Bush Jr., when he was in office, he bought up more lands for the national park system for the federal government than all presidents before him. When Obama came into office, he dwarfed that by appropriating more land for the federal government than all presidents before him. And Trump, he was well on his way to even doing that again. So these lands are being snapped up by the federal government. Why do I feel like, Joe, that that's like a bargaining chip for some of these big corporatists, or, like I said, just they kind of work in the same system, don't they?
Yeah, this is just it's just disgusting, and this is all of this is happening so quickly. I think most people are being caught off guard. Just look at what Walmart had to say in their earnings report. Procter & Gamble today said, hey, by the way, prices aren't done going up. We anticipate prices increases through all of 2023. And we know food hasn't even started. Well, it started. I shouldn't say that. But wait till this harvest season. I think we're going to see another huge spike there. And then what's going on in the cattle industry right now, 2023 sure looks like beef prices are going to get even more expensive.
I agree, Joe, with that. And straight from the New York Fed I talked about a couple days ago, they expect, like the June number to be 6.8 year over year. So that's high inflation. That's way above 2%, Joe. And they're expecting that a whole full year from now to still be there. So that does not bode well for the price of anything, Joe.
Yeah, we got some inflation data out. The Fed's favorite number came out today. Why is it their favorite? Because it's not real. But I'm going to tell you what it is. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour, $20 gold. This price was good yesterday. It's bordering on ridiculous today as gold continues to rally. It's not stopping. I'm telling you right now, load up here. The bottoms are in, especially silver now, 2025. Obviously, silver supplies extremely limited. Would not shock me at all if in the next week or two we're even going to be out of stock. Because right now, and Jason will tell you this, we are on our backup to the backup to the backup suppliers when it comes to silver. The bullion banks have nothing. The largest wholesaler in the world has nothing. I mean, premiums are high, but hey, they're only going to be higher. But the buy of the week, this is probably the buy of the month here as we're approaching the end of July. $20 gold, $2,175. If you're brand new, if you've never ordered gold before, you know you need to own it. You know you need to own it. Just call the 800 number. It is the easiest. Nobody makes buying gold easier than us. Call. The girls are going to answer. You just tell them you want the special. That's it. That's all you need to do. They're going to ask you how many. Then we're going to ask you, are you going to pick up in Phoenix? You going to pick up in Colorado? Or do we ship to you? If we're shipping to you, it's a flat $35, period. You order 1 coin, it's $35. You order 10 coins, it's $35. You order 100 coins, it's $35. Well, if you order 100 of them, I'd throw in the shipping. But problem is, I don't know if I can get 100. We'd have to check that out. But it's just that easy. You pay with check, credit card. We charge 2% for credit cards. We take all forms of credit cards. We also, obviously, bank wires. We ship. If we ship to you, our primary way of shipping is FedEx. And we send you your tracking. You know when it's coming. You know what to expect. And then after that transaction's over, here's the one thing that's going to happen. Absolutely nothing. You won't hear from us. We don't call you unless you tell us to call you. We don't call our customers. We don't sell our list. You're not going to be put on some list. We don't do any of those things. Privacy is paramount to us and to our audience out there. But like I said, it couldn't be easier. I actually have the 20s on sale on our shopping cart at allamericangold.com. If you're like, hey, you know what, I don't believe you, Joe. I'm sure you're going to give me the bait and switch or try to sell me something else like those other dealers out there do. We don't do that here. You can always go to All American Gold, hit the shopping cart button, and buy it online. That way you'll know exactly what you're getting. And unlike other dealers, when you hit the button to say put it in my shopping cart, you don't all of a sudden get a different price than what they advertised. 800-951-0592. The Fed's favorite inflation gauge. It's called the PCE deflator. Right? Yeah, of course. Why is it? Well, it's got deflate right in there, right? This is a way they deliberately make it appear less. This is a June number. This number came in much hotter than expected. The headline number, 6.8%. The core number, you know, it's so funny they call it the core, because guess what's not in the core? Food and energy. I mean, Jason, isn't that really the core of what all of us need? We need food and we got to have energy, right? Got to be able to keep warm or keep cool. We got to be able to put gas in our car, right? We got to have the energy. Obviously, we got to eat, but that's not in the core. That was 4.8. By the way, those are the highest numbers since 1982. Came in hotter than expected. Blah blah blah. And just so you know, and we've said it a million times, the only reason why it's not the hottest numbers ever, or the hottest numbers since the stagflation of the 70s, is because they simply changed the way they calculated the inflation to make it appear less, Jason.
That's right, Joe. I mean, that's going to be one of the ways they try to, I think, manipulate the inflation numbers in the future to try to make them look better, to try to give people some hope that things are getting better. As the food and the energy is going to go up, but it really appears that there's going to be a lot of stuff in the stores, right? I've seen several stories where it looks like several stores are going to cut a lot of prices because they are overstocked. I even saw national news stories saying that Walmart was going to slash their prices because they're loaded full of stuff. But you're right, Joe. Stuff is stuff. You buy it or you don't buy it. And is it really deflation if you're not going to buy it because they're full up of stuff that people can't buy? But they have to buy food and energy, Joe. And so if they can try to, wiggle the numbers in their direction because people aren't buying stuff and the prices come down, that food and energy, it's going to keep going up for a while.
Yeah, and it's just a big mess when we look at it, because the Fed, I think they're stunned. I really do. I think they thought, and this was under Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan, I'm going to tell you right now, the guy was a great central banker. He really was. Because he convinced everybody that, you know what, let's not actually count real numbers. Because we're all, real smart people. Listen, all of these Fed governors, the head of the Fed, Jay Powell, right, they're all really smart people. Right? Most of them went to some Ivy League school, and if it wasn't an Ivy League school, it was an Ivy-like school, right? And they were all, let's give them their due, right? They were the smartest of the smart, and they sat around in their little tables and their subsidized lunch programs, so they don't really know there's any inflation out there. And they came up with these great theories. Hey, you know what? I know Double's talking about the cattle problem. Don't worry next year, because when beef gets so expensive, you'll buy something cheaper, right? You'll just buy the pork. See? So really, it's not. So let's lower it. We don't need to report that beef prices were up 20%. We'll just use pork because pork's only up 5%. Of course, everyone starts buying the pork. What happens? Pork price goes up, But neither here. That substitution, this PCE deflator, right? The core versus getting rid of food and energy. They did all these great things that sounded really good. in theory. But now the problem is they really thought, hey, we did such a good job, we'll never have real inflation again. Guess what? Even with all that, we got the worst inflation in 40 years. Congratulations. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. $20 gold. The buy of the month, 2,175. Gold right now, 1768, 1769. Silver's at 2025. The Dow, it's up about 100 points or so. Again, the Dow liking the fact that they think Jay Powell's well, he's weak. I mean, what can we say, right, Jason? The choice that everybody on Wall Street is going to make is Jay Powell's going to quit the inflation fighting. And again, I think all they're going to do, Jason, is come up with a new target. Inflation is going to be 4% or 5%. We're just going to have to live with it. But don't worry, we'll only have to live with it for a few years. But Mike Shedlock, mishtalk.com, a guy does a lot of great research. Jason, he's now saying that the Federal Reserve, that quantitative tightening, they're going to sell all these bonds, says that the Federal Reserve is not going to get anywhere close to selling the level of bonds they've talked about. And a lot of people are saying that the bond sell-off may be over before the end of the year.
Yeah, that sounds logical, Joe. I mean, one of the reasons I was talking earlier about, I think interest rates stay high is because, you get a housing crash and some of these mortgages fail, then they're not really holding a lot. I mean, of course, that's bad for them, but the interest rates, they're holding a lot of treasuries. That's the thing we're not talking about as much is that, they hold a lot of treasuries. And if they're
the largest holder of them, let's face it.
The largest holder. And if the interest rates get higher on that stuff, let's face it, not everything that's sitting there is long-term. Some of that's short-term. And they can keep flipping that over time into higher interest. They can pay their bills, so to speak. They can kind of cover their losses on the mortgage-backed securities, Joe. They can do a lot of manipulation because let's face it, they control the interest rates, Joe. Maybe they don't want these interest rates to come down for a very long time, but they also want to try to keep things stable.
This is just my belief. I think all of this stops. The rate hikes stop. The bond market, the quantitative tightening stops. The dollar rally, the top's in there. We're going to see the dollar fall back down into more normal levels. We're going to see a big rally in gold, in silver. The thing that I just don't see is how we can go back to zero.
Right.
How can you go to zero if inflation still, we know that it's way higher than the 9 that they admit to, but even if it fell to 6, how could you go to zero?
They can't.
Because all you do, if you did that, could you imagine if they did that? You think oil's expensive now? You think gas is expensive now? If the Fed brought rates back to zero, you could just add another $50 a barrel to the oil price. Just automatically. I don't know where it stops. I think they're really close. I don't know that they can even get above 3% on a 10-year note, on a Fed funds rate. I don't know that they can get there. Right now we're at between 2.25% and 2.5%. Right, the 10-year note's like at 2.62, and you're almost where the Fed's funds rate is. I don't even know if they can get the Fed's funds rate to 3%. I think somewhere close to that. Maybe, and this just, I'm guessing here, I think they're going to try to get 50 basis points in September, and then come October, the jobs numbers are going to be really tough, and I think at that point, the Fed's just going to stop there, so it'll be between 2.75 and 3%, and I think we're just going to hold that. And then it'll be interesting in 2023. Does inflation still get worse? And does the Fed still decide to go like Japan and say, hey, you know what, we're just not going to fight it? I don't know.
Well, the Fed uses that language, Joe, soft landing. You got to really look at these terms. They had to actually. I saw Janet Yellen actually admit that a rare time when they said they made a mistake. Oh, that was a mistake using the word transitory. Well, so they really care about the language, Joe, and they use this term soft landing. But soft landing doesn't mean going back to zero, I don't think. So I think they want to play, like you're saying, Joe, they won't go to zero. They can't. I think they're trying to find this middle ground where they can sort of slowly crash this thing and make it kind of a swallowable punishment for everybody. And when I say lords and peasants, Joe, I don't use that analogy loosely. Lords and peasants mean peasants just work to barely get the basic necessities. You're talking about all that land, the farmland that these guys you were mentioning buying up. Those are lords. We all heard the term landlord. Well, landlord didn't used to mean you just bought a house and rented it out. It used to mean you owned land and you were the lord of that land. We're going back to actual landlords, Joe. And so, I mean, I had a guy I know. He just got a job at a food place. He's getting paid $18.50, and he says he's going to get paid $18.50 an hour just to pull the bad bread out. That's all he does all day for 12 hours a day. He pulls out the bad bread as it goes by. That's his only job, Joe. And why do I have a feeling $18.50? He's barely going to get by on that, pulling bad bread out. I mean, it's insane. And of course, there'll probably be a machine at some point in the future to pull that out for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be in the grocery industry, and I can tell you right now, that's an actual job. And that guy, his job, the bread guy, the guy that delivers the bread, he's there, early in the morning at these stores, 5 a.m. in the morning, brings all this bread in, and then he leaves bread, the bread that's on sale, he'll leave extra in the back, and then this guy, a merchandiser, he'll come in, and maybe he comes in, depending on his route, hey, I'm at this store at noon, and then I get him in my car, and I'm at this store at 12:30, and then this store, and he just drives from store to store to store, putting the sale bread, filling it back up, and like Jason said, pulling the bread that's out of date off the shelves. $18.50 needs to be $38.50. But to Jason's point, eventually they'll get a robot to do it. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Gold's at the highs of the day, staring 1770 in the face here. $20 gold pieces on sale today, $21.75. Right now, I'm guessing we're probably going to see $22.10 to $22.25, depending on where gold is come Monday. I will not be surprised at all if this time next week, if the unemployment claims on Thursday continue to trend higher and we get really we could very easily find ourselves above that 270 number next week. We're that close to it now. And then the jobs number on Friday, anything below 200,000, which I think is likely. And then if it gets even uglier and it's 100,000 or less, we're going to see gold well into the 1800s. I think we'll see gold back into positive territory for the year, and obviously silver, as well as gold has done here the last few days. Silver's blowing it out of the water, but of course silver got hit a lot harder, Jason.
Yeah, silver's been the artificially low for so long. Anybody that deals with gold and silver is just. It's been this head scratcher. It's like, well, it's manipulated, but for how long? How long will this be like this? So when silver goes, Joe, and everyone knows at some point you can only control a commodity for so long as far as price. Silver has.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's up another 40. It's up another 40 cents, and that's a lot. When you're talking, it's $20.27 right now. Yesterday it was up well over $1, and I think we're going to see those types of things. And at least for right now, the narrative is, and I think it's going to stay this way, we're a lot closer to the Fed being done hiking. People are already doubting how much quantitative tightening could actually occur. And I really think, this is my opinion, the Fed is really watching the job market. If they see that job market buckling, Jason, I think that's when they start to panic.
I think you're right, Joe. I think you're right, and it won't take very long. No matter what happens,
And by the way, that's the absolute wrong thing. The Fed, listen, this 75 basis point rate hike should have been 2 or 3%. They, to Jason's point, they should have done one huge one and said, okay, let's see where we're at. They're trying to do this little gradual nonsense thing, and all it's doing is making the problem worse, in my opinion.
It's a debt money system, Joe, so no matter which way this thing goes or how it goes down, the Fed's balance sheet is you've mentioned it before, it's kind of an extension of our national debt, so it can't really effectively go down with the system we have in place. So at $9 trillion, Joe, when this thing, maybe they get it down a little bit, but when it bounces off, what is it going to be, 11 trillion, 12 trillion, 20 trillion? It'll start moving upwards very quickly in the future.
Man, probably that's
it has to.
Again,
Joe, it's like a reservoir for a river that's flooded. They needed to put this somewhere else. That's what the Fed's balance sheet is. It's just an extension of the national debt, so it will grow over time. I think that's their new way of hiding the debt that's coming in, Joe.
And again, yeah, I think you're right. 800-951-0592, the buy of the month on $20 gold. 2,175 at 800-951-0592. Don't touch that dial.